Thomas. I am 20 years old and I am the 2014 recipient of the University of Birmingham and the Jamaica National Foundation Legacy Scholarship. I applied for the scholarship because I thought that it would present for me a really good opportunity to not only further my studies but to do so in a new environment, a challenging environment, to share a different educational experience, and throughout all of that to be able to not only develop myself further but to put me on a platform to become an ambassador for Jamaica and ultimately come back to Jamaica and be able to contribute to the nation's development in a meaningful way. The experience was a nerve-wracking one. The interview was, I believe, intense, but it was still a good interview. I was able to do my best, to put my best foot forward. I was never quite certain at what point I did receive the scholarship until I got that call. I was hopeful, very hopeful, but I didn't want to put anything past my fellow colleagues who had applied because, of course, they were all very brilliant persons. But at the point that I received the call, I know that I had in fact been successful. In light of the fact that there were 4 other candidates shortlisted for the scholarship, I believe what made me stand out was not only my educational background in terms of achievements, etc., but also my commitment to community involvement, my commitment to co-curricular participation, etc. So not only did I have the grades, but I also had a track history of doing very well extracurricularly, and so I believe that gave me a distinct advantage in the application process. What I'm looking forward to the most is being able to learn and grow in a new culture. This is my first time actually traveling to the UK, and so I'm very excited about the prospect of not only sharing in the cultural experience but also the educational one, to be able to learn in this new environment, to see all that the master's program will entail, and certainly to come out a better person as a result, not just academically, but in terms of my holistic personal development. And so I definitely look forward to that. And of course, being able to return to Jamaica a much better person, having a more pivotal standpoint from which I can contribute to nation building in an impactful way. I will be studying a Master's of Science degree in International Accounting and Finance. I chose this area of study because it is one that I'm very passionate about. I love accounting, I love finance. As a matter of fact, I love business in general. And so I believe both areas, when combined, give me a very good opportunity to maximize on the knowledge of business and the various sectors within business. I especially intend to develop my career in my later years in banking and finance, and so being able to pursue studies in the accounting and finance fields puts me in an optimal position to pursue later studies in my desired career path and to advance in that path accordingly. During my secondary and tertiary levels of studies, I was always involved in a number of activities. Throughout high school, for example, at Arden, I was a prefect. I also participated in clubs such as the photography club, debating club, drama club. Throughout UTech, I continued along that path. I was a part of the student leadership as the Vice President Public Relations for the UTech Students Union. I was also President of the Debating and Public Speaking Society, Secretary of that society as well, a member of the Governor General's Executive Student Leadership Body, and several various committees on dorm. I must say that it can be a bit tricky being able to balance both co-curricular involvements and school. At a very young age, I realized that it was very important to not only be a book smart person, to not only be the sort of person that is keen on academics, but also to be involved in community and otherwise. And so with that understanding at a young age, I started to hone my time management skills to ensure that I developed a timetable that allowed me not only to participate in school and studies, but also to branch myself out in other realms of my development. And so being able to develop that time management, to develop my organizational skills, etc., really helped me to maintain an optimal balance between work and school. At a very early age, I grew to understand the importance of not only being academically inclined, but also being involved too. And so for that reason, I tried as best as possible to properly manage my time, to ensure that I allocated time not only to school and to studies, but also to involvement otherwise in the community and so on. And by developing my time management skills along with my general organizational skills, I found that as time passed, I was better able to manage the balance between school and extracurricular involvements and to master the art, so to speak. I received 10 ones in the 2010 CSEC exams, and because of this performance, I was awarded a scholarship to the University of Technology, Jamaica to pursue my tertiary studies. At UTech, I studied a Bachelor of Business Administration degree with a double major in accounting and finance and banking. My childhood journey was a very interesting one, if I may put it that way. I grew in my earlier years with my grandmother in Instead St. Catherine. She was not very well off financially, but she did try her best to make ends meet. She did this primarily by selling in the market in Instead St. Catherine. After 8 years with her, I returned to Kingston to live with my mother in Waterhouse, St. Andrew. Shortly after that, I went to Arden. Like my grandmother, my mother was not very financially stable. Things were rough, to say the least. So much so that at one point in time, I ended up being in a girls' home as well as being in a foster home. So it was quite a challenging experience growing up, being able to having to deal with not just being in a girls' home, being in a foster home, but having to manage all of that with school and other aspects of life. But nonetheless, I fought through it as best as I could with the support of very kind persons around me and with the support of God, of course. And I'm happy to say that despite the odds, I am here today. The difficulties of my childhood really prompted me to realize that if I were to come out of the circumstances that I was going through, if I were to be able to help myself and to help my family, then I would have to be very dedicated, very focused, and to really excel academically and otherwise. And so from an early age, I grew to appreciate that if I were to ever make a difference in my life, in the life of my family and in the life of others around me, that the only way out would have been to really fight and to do my best. And so that is what I did. I am very grateful for the circumstances that have shaped my past, because I believe that those are the same circumstances that allow me to now be the young woman that I am today. And so even though things were hard, even though they were less than ideal, I believe that that was what gave me the fighting power to push through, to really give my all into my studies and every other area of my life, and to be able to be the successful person that I am today. I am extremely grateful to the University of Birmingham and the Jamaica National Foundation team for not only organizing what I believe is a very remarkable scholarship program, but also for allowing me the opportunity to be the recipient of that award. Indeed, I know that I will try my best to live up to the hallmark set by the scholarship, and to not only do my best academically, but to return home and be a force to be reckoned with in nation development.